So, if we take a typical improvement process through quality initiative different or through experience you get the improvements, those will be linear, whereas with BPR we need to have the dramatic improvement or drastic improvements. Let us take the typical government process. Right? So, generally businesses and citizens are the customers. Of course, some are within government will also be there, majority will be citizens who will apply for something. So, it is citizens, they will give the applications, then there is an interface with them. So, they may have to pay certain fee for the service, plus they need to give documents, data, also the if there are some missing document, maybe need to have give the affidavit. Then according to government rules, it will be processed by government officers, right? And also technology, how it supports, because earlier there was no technology, no computers, but later on to some extent there is a technology use, and further going we can see data centers, cloud computing, all these things will new technology comes in that also supports. And after processing that application, we deliver the service, required document, maybe some money transfer will be there or some physical paper will be issued to them. So, this is a typical government process for any department. Now, let us see if processes are working well, then there will be good governance, right? It is the right way to manage the thing or provide the service. But if you, there can be some of the examples where we can see the governance is not in good shape, or we can say it is a poor governance. I will discuss few signs. There can be many signs of poor governance. Few of them I would like to highlight. One of them can be about the air of mystification about the procedure. That means if I go to government office, I meet few government officers, everyone will tell me different procedure, right? In that case, certainly there are no well defined processes. So, if we look from e-governance point of view, we need to define process well before embark on the project. Second thing, in the government, if you reach the office, then you need to visit many officers, or one officer direct you to another officer and you need to run from pillar to the post. That means it is a poor governance. There are no exact responsibility and accountability defined in the process, but with e-governance project and especially with process reengineering, we need to have clear responsibilities and accountability towards the work. Some more poor signs of poor governance. If in your office there is a long queue at delivery point, certainly we are not managing process well. Second thing is, for the same purpose, if you need to visit office again and again, that means multiple visits, that also indicates the poor governance. That means processes are not in place properly, and how the interaction happens between the government servants and citizens, that gives a impact on the person, that how the governance is there, how the processes are operated. So, if we look at the e-governance project or process reengineering, we need to look what we can do on online services, how we can bring in quality interaction, and finally it is about the motto of the e-governance project or a national e-governance plan. It is public services closer home. So, we all these kind of signs will disappear when we can implement e-governance process, and for that if we have a good process reengineering, these signs will not be there in the government offices. Some more, output is in suspense. That means I am not sure when I will get the things. Then there will be too many intermediaries, and if I want to bypass them, there will be some shortcuts. So, processes are not in place, they are not well defined, there is no transparency. In such a case, certainly it is a poor governance. And too many controls and checks, complexity, exceptions, special cases, that means when a citizen visits the office, he will be confused with the many things, and the things will be checked many times, and finally he comes out exhausted. So, he will not have that satisfaction. Hence, if we look at the process reengineering, we need to bring in transparency in that, then also indicating what are the outputs are coming, also look at the time required for that, so that people are aware about the status of their application, and also they are aware of when they will get the required output. So, these are some of the signs of poor governance. You can also explore in your offices what are the some more signs which can indicate it is a poor governance, and there is scope for doing process reengineering, and to further we can think about the e-governance project. Okay. Let us take a bigger picture. When we talk about process reengineering, it is incorporated in e-governance project life cycle. It has 6 phases. So, first one is about the strategy development, second is customer state assessment, future state definition, and then it is about the implementation approach, then developing IT systems and going into actual operation and sustaining that operation. So, GPR will come at stage 2 and 3. Of course, it is integrated into the project. That means there will be inputs from the first phase, and GPR will give lot of outputs which will go as an input for phase 4 and 5. In this slide, we can look at the project management office or unit, PMO or PMU, it's both are similar terms, and of course, another thing is change management and communication. Actually, the 3 things will go together. One is about the project management or program management, second thing will be about the process improvement which is taken care by GPR, and third thing is about the change management and communication, that is human aspects of the things. So, all 3 will be in, if they are in synergy, certainly your project will be successful and you will have customer satisfaction improvements. Let us see the GPR details. What are the steps in GPR? First thing about the problem identification and definition. Second will be about defining vision, objectives for the GPR. Then we will go into process study, do the documentation. Then that documentation will be analyzed further how the processes are working, and then we will have we need to come up with the new process which is improved, which we may have the IT systems, and finally we need to give the inputs to the IT systems. So, that is nothing but IT enablement, and we can, with the GPR, we can validate that IT system are they as per the requirement. So, this is the approach or steps for the GPR. Now, what is the first step? It is about the problem identification and definition. So, how do we identify the problems? We must listen to customer. Customer will give sometime complaints, and if he is happy with the service, we will get compliments. So, the inputs will come from the customer. We need to look at their grievances, complaints, that is one way, but this is more reactive way. And the second way is have the customer service. So, that once you finish the service, or once we finish certain interaction, we can give the feedback form to the customer and they can rate our service, so that we will get the voice of the customer and see what are the problems. And next thing is, we can see the problem, we can see the signs, but we need to define it in a clearly unambiguous way, because if there is ambiguity, the solution will be difficult to give. Let us take example of passport office. So, in that case, if we just tell that people experience enormous delay in the getting the passport, this statement gives the problem, but it is not clarity in it, so that we cannot take actions further. But the same thing is done or written defined in such a way that process for passport issuance on turnaround time metric is operating at 38% within service level agreement. That means we have some commitment like in a citizen charter that we want to issue certain thing in within certain days, and as per that if we measure that process with reference to the service level agreements, we can see only 38% compliance and 62% of the passports are delayed. So, this unambiguous way or with the clarity we can look at few things. One thing is you have some certain measures for the processes, and also you have already defined the standards for it, and finally you are able to see where the problems are, right. So, this is about the problem statement. Maybe initially you may have some ambiguity in your definition, but as we progress with the process re-engineering, certainly it will give a better picture about the problems.